think it's interesting how most of us believe that we only get to live life once, and then once it's done, that's it. It's over. No do-overs and no replays. And yet, despite that belief, we live as if this life is one of many. We hide behind the comfort of our routines and structure. We have dreams and places that we want to see, but we don't. Instead, we make excuses as to why we can't now. We put them off and say to ourselves, maybe one day, knowing full well that day may never come. Okay, welcome back to another episode of Santa's World. I haven't posted in quite a while, to be fair. I have been busy this weekend. I did a bit of traveling, and I've been trying to get into this mindset of actually experiencing things or doing something that is worthwhile, something that I will actually remember, look back on and think to myself, what an experience I had. Something I don't necessarily see every day type of thing. So yeah, obviously it being Valentine's Day last weekend, I decided, do you know what, instead of doing the usual thing, I'm gonna do something different with my girl. And yeah, now I am back, and in today's video we're gonna be talking about 5 signs that you're not making the most of the free will that you have. I feel like for me, in order to make the most of the free will that I have, I need to actually live life the way that I want to live it, experience things that I want to experience, and actually living life intentionally, not in this sort of passive way that normally, I have to be honest, I have been living life in a very passive way, in a very autopilot kind of way, where you kind of get stuck in this routine of doing things that you're not necessarily doing consciously. You're kind of almost doing it unconsciously, and you kind of forget how to live, kind of thing. If you've experienced it, then you kind of know what I'm talking about. It's hard to put into words, but it's almost like you've forgotten how to live, and time is literally just passing by you. Now, for me, the number one sign that tells me whether I'm actually making the most of my free will is when I kind of get into this stage of kind of just living by default settings. Like, I don't necessarily do things because I want to do them, because I want to enjoy them. I'm doing it because it's just how it is and how everybody else does things, and kind of just living a normal life and fitting in. And sometimes it's not just about the routine of waking up and going to work. It's also about like the hobbies that you're kind of into. It starts to become a cycle of just the same thing every single day, every single week, and none of your days are actually memorable. Like, if I was to ask you what you did last week Wednesday, you probably wouldn't be able to tell me, type of thing, because it's all meshed into one. The second way in which I'm able to recognize if I'm actually making the most of my free will is how I actually see the world and my mindset, in terms of when things happen, do I blame myself or do I blame the world, type of thing, and how much control I feel like I have over the world. Because I feel like the more I live consciously, the more I kind of start to realize how much control I actually do have over my life. And sometimes certain things that do happen, maybe they wouldn't have happened if I didn't do certain things. If I chose a different path, then maybe certain things wouldn't have happened. And I feel like when you start to live consciously and you actually start to pay attention to the choices that you make, you do kind of realize how much control that you actually do have. And I feel like that comes from taking responsibility of your actions and actually understanding how much weight they hold, which can be tough sometimes, because it's a lot easier to just blame the external, to blame the outside world for everything that is happening. That's literally the easiest thing to do. But to actually look within and understand what part you had to play in certain things happening, the realization that you could have chosen a different path can sometimes hit you pretty hard. I think another sign for me has also been when I sort of just procrastinate on things, or like I postpone things and put them away for a while, or I think to myself, right now it's not the right time, I'm just gonna wait until this happens or until that happens. I'm gonna wait for the right time until I actually start doing the things that I want to do. And obviously when you do that, what starts to happen is you start to have this big list of things that you said you were gonna do, but you never actually ended up doing because you were waiting on the perfect time. And then guess what, you even forget about those things sometimes. I know I did forget about those things, and obviously we change, we grow. So me saying I want to do something today, but I'm waiting till, I don't know, next year, next year I might not be the same person that I am today. I might not be into that thing as passionately anymore, and as a result I might just put it away and never actually attempt it. Or maybe if I actually did make a start, I would have learned more about it, and I would have realized that actually, do you know what, I'm actually a lot more passionate about it than I thought. Maybe initially it was just like a little thought that I had, but until you start, you don't realize how much you're actually into it. And yeah, so what I learned is that if I keep putting things off and saying, oh, I'm just gonna wait until this happens, usually what happens is I don't end up acting on those things. I don't end up doing anything actually, and it's almost like I'm doing a lot of talking but no action. And as a result, am I actually making the most of the free will that I have? Probably not. Another one for me is seeking validation before acting. And it's normal. A lot of us do it. Like before starting something, you kind of think, oh, what will this person and that person think? So you might end up asking them and say, oh, what do you think about this, or should I start doing X and Y? And it's like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking for their opinion and stuff, but I think it's wrong to wait for their go ahead. I think it's wrong to let their opinions dictate whether you will go for it or not. And I'm not judging, because it's something that I've gone through myself, to be fair as well, where let's say I have an idea or I think about something, and I ask somebody else about their opinion on it, or like, oh, should I start on this, should I do that? And then their response ends up putting me off. They might say something like, oh yeah, but it's kind of saturated and this and that. And then what happens is they've kind of planted a seed of doubt in my mind, so I don't end up doing it, kind of thing. And to be fair, that taught me to never go and seek that validation from somebody else, because all that does is it gives them, not because they're a malicious person or anything, they might have their own insecurities, but it gives them the opportunity to project their own insecurities onto you, their own biases, and ultimately the decision should be coming from you, not them. And lastly, another thing that prevents you from actually making the most of your free will is making an excuse that it's just how I am, it's just how you are, type of thing. Like you could be bad with anything, or you could be bad at communicating, and what you say to yourself is, oh, it's just how I am, I'm just bad at communicating, and you don't attempt to do anything about it. You almost make it seem like, yeah, that's like your default setting, and there's nothing that you can do about it. There's no work that you can do, and you've just accepted that that's how things are. I feel like that's something a lot of us do, because that's something that I've heard other people say quite a bit. They might notice a bad trait about themselves, and they'll just link it to their personality and say, oh, that's just how I am. When the thing is, you can actually make changes to better yourself. There's no such thing as that's just how I am, so I'm not gonna change, type of thing. And when you're doing that, you're kind of taking the power away from yourself. You're kind of taking the free will away from yourself and making it seem like there's external factors that control your behavior. So as a result, you never actually end up growing as a person because of that excuse that you've made and that you've put on yourself. But if you've watched the video up until this point, then thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you were able to find some value out of it. And if you were, you already know what to do. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.